There comes a moment in life when you begin to understand that not everyone around you is rooting for your peace. Some people are drawn to your chaos. They thrive on your frustration, quietly delight in your loss of control. It's not necessarily because you've harmed them in any way, but because your calm presence reminds them of everything they feel they're missing. Your peace, your quiet strength, becomes a mirror reflecting their inner storms, their insecurities, and their failures. For them, your composure is uncomfortable. It exposes the noise they carry within themselves. These people want to see you break. They hope for that moment when you lose your temper, when you react emotionally. In doing so, they gain the chance to say, "See? They're no better than I am." But when you remain calm, when you choose peace over provocation, you dismantle their entire strategy. You display a strength they cannot reach, and that silent resilience shatters them more than any shouted insult ever could. Choosing calmness is not about weakness, it's about power. When you refuse to let their chaos penetrate your soul, you are claiming a power that most people don't even realize exists. It takes more strength to hold your ground in silence than it does to fight back in anger. When you don't react, when you don't feed their fire, you rob them of their control. They came looking for drama, but instead, they find themselves staring into the silence of their own reflection. The shift begins not when they hurt you, but when you refuse to let it touch you. The one who tried to shake you starts to tremble, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. They are forced to sit with their anger, their fear, and their jealousy, all because your calmness left them no place to hide. Your presence becomes like still water, steady, quiet, unshaken, and impossible to drown in. People who throw negativity, who lash out with words and attacks, do so hoping to drag you down to their level. But when you don't respond, you leave them to face their misery alone. Your stillness becomes a confrontation they cannot escape. It speaks volumes without a word. Their storm begins to rage louder, not because of you, but because of your refusal to join in. The truth they fear most is that it's not you who's out of control. It's them. Every time they try to pull you into their spiral of chaos, and every time you choose not to react, their power over you weakens. They want to see you angry, to see you lose yourself, but your peace holds up a mirror to their turmoil. They realize that what they wanted to destroy isn't even breaking, and that realization breaks them instead. Calmness, real calmness, is one of the greatest strengths you can possess. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove. It simply is. It takes immense power to breathe through a storm without letting it enter you. To hold your tongue, to choose your peace over their pain, is to master your emotions in a way that most cannot. That is not passivity, it is power. When you stay calm, you're not playing their game. You're rising above it. They think they've set the rules, who can shout louder, who can be more disrespectful, but you're playing a different game entirely. One where silence is your strategy and discipline is your defense. And in that game, you've already won. They may continue trying to provoke you, trying to trap you in cycles of reaction, but your refusal to be moved leaves them powerless. The more they try, the more exhausted they become. You haven't given them the reaction they need to validate their tactics. You've offered only clarity, like still water reflecting their desperation. And slowly, they begin to realize they're not fighting you, they're fighting themselves. This is the hidden truth about calmness. It forces people to confront what they're running from. It magnifies the echo of their own insecurities. The more silent you remain, the louder that echo becomes. And while they may see silence as indifference, you know better. Silence is strength. Silence is awareness. Silence is wisdom. It takes far more strength to walk away from conflict than to dive into it headfirst. When you don't give them your anger, you don't hand over your power. You keep it. You protect your energy. You remain the master of your emotions, and in doing so, you force them to sit in the discomfort of their own failure. Because that's what silence does. It exposes what words try to hide. It leaves no room for manipulation, no opportunity to twist your reaction. It's not easy, but it's effective. To stay calm when provoked is to show that no one has power over you unless you give it to them. It's a refusal to dance to someone else's tune, to be played like a puppet. Calmness keeps you grounded. It keeps you focused on your path, not theirs. And in a world that mistakes volume for strength, the person who remains silent holds the real power. That kind of control is rare. That kind of discipline is what makes leaders, not followers. Kings and queens rise not because they scream, but because they rule with poise. Your silence is your crown. Your peace is your protection. And while they shout, while they try to bait you, you simply stand in who you are, unmoved, untouchable. They came to see you fall. Instead, they witness your rise.